Gamers continue their massive boycott against feminism in games. So gamers are continuing their massive boycott against feminism in games. Y'all, they are going hard out here. Watch the video to fully understand the implications of this boycott and how it can reshape the gaming industry forever. Now let's just go ahead and jump right into this video or in this article because it's absolutely insane what the gamers are doing here. So if we jump into this article, you guys see Steam users curate anti-woke list and it's dividing opinion. So the media is immediately having a massive backlash to this. What users have done over on Steam is, and for those of you that don't know, on Steam you can create different groups and people can follow your groups and you can get notifications for various things. It's insane. Steam is amazing. So some users on Steam have curated an anti-woke list and it's dividing opinions. You'll get a notification whenever a game is added to the list, and it'll basically tell you what games are woke. It'll give you the reasons and everything. This is pretty massive. So majority of the games approved are anime games. The list is garnering mixed options from the gaming collective. Amidst controversial game launches and shutdowns due to some alleged agenda pushing, around 1,600 Steam users have taken it upon themselves to give games a woke or not seal of approval. This is a massive number of people actually working on this right now. 1,600 people are actually working on this. So that's a giant team of editors, guys. Blackmouth Wukong's release has taken the world of gaming by storm, breaking records set by iconic games such as Elden Ring and Counter-Strike. So keep in mind that the feminists were pissed off with Blackmouth Wukong. The game has now gone on to sell around $850 million in 3 weeks and sell over, I believe it's over 18 million copies, or right around 18 million copies. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. Founded in 2023, the woke and censored Game Alert boasts a little south of 9,000 followers, and it continues to grow rapidly. The group aims to notify you about games with woke or censored content, so you know which publishers and developers you should support. Although this is no official standard for what they consider woke, Steam reveals that the games they usually review contain the following tags: JRPG, anime, RPG, female protagonist, and LGBTQ+. Now keep in mind the reason why there are JRPG, anime, and RPG games in there is because if these games are being censored in the West, then they're letting you know that, hey, these games are being censored. Because everyone loves JRPG and anime games, but a lot of these games are now being censored. For example, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth evidently did receive some censorship. They're basically letting you know what's going on. Notes given to the not recommended games are usually self-explanatory. Most are given this tag for including pronouns, political flags, or agendas, and incorrect localizations. That said, Dustborn received it for having a guy knit in the game's trailer. God of War's Kratos was also denied a recommendation because he was weak and emotional in Ragnarok. The informational tag is much more interesting. Star Wars Jedi Survivor's character with modern features earned it a spot in this category. So did Dragon's Dogma 2 for restricting the player's minimum height to 160 centimeters, 5'3", despite the average height of her Japanese women being 154 centimeters or 5 feet tall and change. This is kind of crazy though. So they're basically saying that, they're basically, the media is pissed off because gamers are like, you can only have characters that are 5'3". So basically men can't be, so I guess they're restricting even the height of men. Okay, the player's minimum height to, they restricted the player's minimum height to 5'3". So yeah, they were pissed off with that. Several Assassin's Creed games were labeled as informational for having forced diversity and an extremely ugly, strong female protagonist. Most recently, the group has celebrated Concord's closure as a victory. So it's like they're creating hyper masculine women in games. That's really what they're doing. However, so Yeah, so I mean, Concord is a $200 million loss, 200 maybe $300 million loss for Sony, and basically Sony is saying that they're doubling down. They're not even shaken by Concord's massive loss. They're doubling down with even more woke titles coming now. This is what evidently Sony has said. So I don't know if it's true or if it's propaganda, but gamers are know what they're doing. They're basically playing dirty. If they're spreading if they're spreading it, then they're playing dirty at this point. Like they are trying to take Sony, they're trying to take Sony down a notch. So most recently, the group has celebrated Concord's closure as a victory. However, being another generic hero shooter with clunky mechanics might be the more likely reason Concord shut down. So the media is trying to say, "Oh, it's not because it was woke. It's not because it was woke. It's because it just wasn't a lot of fun." Giving the guys it only sold 25,000 copies on a budget on a budget of 130 million, and the game may end up losing, so costing Sony 200 to 300 million dollars. Given the gaming industry's divisions, it's no surprise that the group has staunch detractors and supporters. The group's critics say that its definition of woke is generally too broad and reductive. Here, woke can range from incorrect localizations and changing narratives in remakes to simply including non-white characters in fantasy settings. Yeah, guys, they're full of crap. These the media is full of crap. For example, if you have a medieval game set in medieval Europe, right? A game that's set in medieval Europe, and you have you have people who are of Asian descent, of African descent, all of these people, no, just like in medieval Europe. And I understand it's a fantasy game. It really depends. But if it's in like another world, it's different. Like if it's a fantasy, if it's set in it's like an isekai type of game, or it's fantasy and it's set in another world, cool, or an alternate timeline or something. But if you're trying to say that this is a game that is set in medieval Europe, and you have all of these characters in medieval Europe that just wouldn't have existed in medieval Europe, like when Final Fantasy, I think it's 16 was coming out, the feminist and the woke media, they were all pissed off because the game featured predominantly white characters, because the game is set in it's set in a medieval Europe type of setting, all right. And in medieval Europe, there are no Japanese people. It would look kind of strange. There are no African people. I mean, maybe one might pop up, but it's just not a normal thing. And they were very, very furious about this. So there you go. Fans argue that the industry has become increasingly pandering to a modern audience that doesn't exist. The closure of Concord and negative reception of Forspoken, Saint Row, and others have received are often cited as clear evidence. They also state that it's a consumer's right to know exactly what they're buying. Regunning for the last time. A third group exists, a middle ground made up of the nuance lost by both sides of the argument. People who don't belong in either camp have said that the group's reasoning behind some placements is odd and incoherent, but that the overall aim isn't completely bad. After all, informing gamers of subtle changes and potentially political changes isn't negative when it's done consistently. Despite the nature of political online groups, this one is not hardened against detractors. Multiple comments in the threads are made up of people expressing their dislike but haven't been removed. So people could say that they don't like, but as long if you have basically feminists and woke people popping up and they're just trying to spam, then yeah, they're gonna have to start to moderate. Ultimately, games are media with messages to convey. No game company should be shy about its messages, but users should also be free to analyze and interact critically with narratives and mechanics. Deep under some eyebrow-raising reviews, there might be something worth exploring in reading between the lines in contemporary gaming. Alternatively, make a game so good like Baldur's Gate 3 that even people who disagree with the politics play it and admit it's incredible. So yeah, this is like another woke reviewer is like, okay, so what you have to do is make a game that is so good that even if it's woke, people are still gonna play it anyway. Keep in mind, Concord, the gameplay in Concord was evidently not that bad. Like the gameplay was basically kind of like was more or less like Overwatch from a lot of reviewers have said from what a lot of reviewers have said. So if you make these games and the characters are just so absolutely ugly, there's a lot of people who will just draw the line. Like Spider-Man 2, and just the game or just Spider-Man, yeah, Spider-Man 2 is and even Spider-Man 1, the characters are so ugly. They're really, really ugly. Absolutely ugly. And a lot of people picked it up because of the gameplay. But you know what's the crazy thing? What happens when someone with a little studio says, "Oh, we're going to release a game that's similar to Spider-Man, but the characters in the game are beautiful. The characters are attractive. The gameplay is incredible. It not only is it like Spider-Man, let's see, guys, how about this one? Spider-Man with guns. You think I'm joking around, y'all? Like imagine like we had Pal World, which they called Pokemon with guns. What if some small developer says, "Okay, yeah, I'm going to make a Spider-Man game similar to Spider-Man, but it's going to be Spider-Man with guns." That's a guy basically that's the concept. And it's incredible. What happens then? Because right now we're seeing a pattern where people are rapidly beginning to move away from woke games, beginning to say, you know what? We don't want to play your woke game. We don't want your woke garbage. We're done with this crap. You keep your woke garbage to yourselves. And we'll go all the way back to PlayStation 2. Some of us will go all the way back to Atari. Heck, we'll stick with paper, rock, scissors if we have to and forget about your crap. Because you have to remember, because guys, there are men being arrested now just for staying single. Okay? Men being arrested just for being alone in their homes. Men being arrested for thought crimes are being suspected, boys being taken in by the Department of Terror in in the UK because they are simply suspected of being susceptible to toxic masculinity and the manosphere and extreme misogyny. This is what's actually happening right now, and this is what women have done in society. Guys, think about this. If women ever experience what's going on right now, the type of witch hunt that's happening, society would be furious. How can you do this to our daughters? How can you do this to our women? This is absolutely terrible. We know that there are things that have happened, but you cannot blame every woman. You cannot do this to our daughters. You cannot, guys. Society would be up in arms if these things were happening to women. If what society is doing to men and boys were being done to women, it would be catastrophic. People would be crying. Women would be crying. Men would be crying. The media would be going absolutely ballistic, saying that this is an overreach. But because it's happening to men and boys, radio silence and celebration. And most women are not saying anything. Most women are celebrating it and saying that even more needs to be done. They're still not going far enough. That's the reality that we now live in. We live in societies where they hate us. We are not, guys, this is like they do not like us in these society. They absolutely hate us in these societies. They do not want us in these societies. They are trying to push us out. Okay? That's why the saying exists, go where you are celebrated, go where you are appreciated. Because as men, we are not celebrated. We are not appreciated. The reality, the absolute reality that guys have to accept is that we are hated. We're absolutely hated in these societies. All right? And now you have the Concord developers who developed this very woke, ugly game. And it's like they're basically like, oh, we need, some of us don't even want to make games anymore. And they're blaming the men who allowed them to make the game. They're blaming the people who funded it. They're blaming them for the art direction. Even though the woman who designed the game's art, like was in charge of the art direction. They had 10 years to make this a nearly unlimited budget. And they made this game that everyone universally hates and has now cost hundreds of millions of dollars and will result in the loss of many jobs. And they're blaming the executive who basically gave them the game and told them to make the game exactly however you want to make it, with all the diversity and everything else, and rainbows and unicorns. Do whatever you want to do. And now they're blaming these men for giving them an unlimited amount of freedom and then essentially an unlimited amount of money. So when women do, guys, there's you have a lot of videos popping up now where women for feminists are women who are formerly feminists, or just women in general, are blaming each other for feminism. Blaming each other for feminism.
30 minutes ago, Concord announced that the servers are now officially all offline. However, things don't quite end there just yet. That takes us to this post over on Reddit titled, "Allegedly, senior concept artists for Concord are going through an extremely difficult time, and some might no longer want to work in games or design characters after this."
I used to pray for times like this. Man. Wow.
So we're going to take a look at a number of tweets that allegedly come from Amanda Kiefer. Before we do, let me give you all the context here. Amanda Kiefer is a senior concept artist over at Firewalk Studios, which is, of course, the studio behind Concord. Now, it looks like she's in protected mode. However, it seems like one of her confirmed followers actually leaked the messages and posted them over on Reset Era.
No AI, no NFTs. Uh-oh.
And she was seemingly responding to this person who said, "Kinda want to try to redesign one of the Concord characters. Not to fix art or any pretentious BS. Just as an
Oh, you know, bro, this is gonna make her so mad. Oh, yeah.
experience to see if I can find where it went wrong in the designs.
Where
also,
it
it sounds
wrong.
like a fun thing to draw. I love GOTG looking stuff. I'm just assuming that stands for Guardians of the Galaxy, but correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I guess
think they
that's
look
it.
great as
I didn't
background
guess
characters in the movie or something.
Uh-huh.
They're just missing the hero part. Yeah, you know, the part that's pretty important for a hero shooter.
Yeah,
Look
imagine
like background characters. That's pretty funny. All right, with that context, let's take a look at this set of messages allegedly
see
from
this.
Amanda Kiefer
Yeah.
responding to that artist whose tweet we just read. "I was going to DM you after seeing this, but this site makes me pay to do that. So at the risk of getting dogpiled, I'm just going to..."
Wait, you can't send DMs on Twitter unless you have Twitter Blue? Is that true? Yeah, I only if he activates it? I didn't even know that. The fuck? It's a filter type thing?
say this here. A lot affected the art side of Concord, including design by committee, failure of some leadership to listen to the art team, etc. The character concept art team, including myself, is going through an extremely difficult time emotionally. And some of the team no longer want to work in games, design characters, or even do art anymore.
So, guys, the people that designed these characters, the people that did the art, are now blaming the men for allowing them to design the kinds of characters that they wanted to design. They're saying that, oh, it's not our fault for the way the characters look. It's the fault of the men. It's the fault of the executive. So I guess what they need to do is they need to get rid of the guys that work there and maybe replace those jobs with women, right? I don't know. I don't know, because guys, for example, you give women a bunch of money. Like you have women who say that they're engineers, so they're going to build a bridge. So you give them a bunch of money, you tell them to go build a bridge. All right. So this bridge is built by a team of all female engineers. This actually happened, and then the bridge collapsed. Who do you blame? You blame the men who fund the project, and you blame the men who funded the project, and gave them the jobs. That's who they blame. They don't take any accountability for their failure to build a functional bridge. Okay? They don't take any accountability for building a bridge that collapsed. They blame the men. So when anything goes wrong, this is and I had a friend who said this once. She said, whenever something goes wrong, we just basically blame you guys for everything. And she laughed about it. So it's not that women don't know what they're doing. It's just a form of hatred that they are lodging towards us. And this is women who say they don't hate men, but they consciously know that they blame us for everything because they can, and because society has stripped men of their ability to stand up to women. Society blames men for everything. Women blame men for everything. Men blame men for everything. I've said it before, I'll say it again. We are hated more than the cockroach in Western society. This is why you must go where you are appreciated. You must go where you are celebrated. You are not appreciated in Western society. They don't like you in Western society. They don't want you in Western society. Hence, you need to stay the hell away from Western society because it's bad for your health. The food is bad for your health. The people is bad for your health. The people are bad for your health. The environment is bad for your health. Everything in Western society is bad for your health. Everything in Western society is designed to control, alt, delete you as a man. And I've said this already. You do not have to go to countries like the Philippines to find happiness and peace, or countries like Thailand to find happiness and peace. Guys, there's so many other countries right now that are first world countries, and they're nowhere near as stressful as the United States. I'm just being honest with you. The United States, the United States, or the United Kingdom, or Canada, or Australia. These countries you stay the hell out of. Okay, we're seeing what's happening in France as well right now. Stay the hell out of places like France. But you can go to places, even guys, in some of the most so-called feminist countries right now, you will be much happier as a man. Many of you will say that, oh, you're angry, guys. I'm telling you right now, most of us would be much, much happier in feminist Sweden right now. You guys are out of your damn minds. Okay? Over in feminist little Sweden, have you looked at the women in feminist Sweden? Most of these women, they are fit. They are fit. They still look feminine, even if there's a lot of BS happening in Sweden. These women are overall quite fit. Okay? Okay? And compared to women in Western society, they are much friendlier. They are more fit. They are more feminine. They are friendlier, even in feminist little Sweden. And as a man, you actually have more rights in Sweden. It sounds crazy. You actually have more rights and support in Sweden. For example, they will help you. They'll help provide a roof over your head, money for food and shelter. You get money for food and shelter and everything. They will actually help support you and take care of you in Sweden. And the society is cleaner than the United States. America looks so old and busted, bro. It's so true. And there's some of you guys who like, oh, I love my country. I love my country, America. Yeah, America. You guys, America looks like crap, bro. America looks like crap. Everything looks old and dirty and torn down and busted. It's a nasty place, okay? Like, for example, how many of you have actually ever been to New York City? New York City was never this wonderful place that people think, guys. I grew up in New York City. I grew up in New York City back in the 80s when this place was when New York City was nasty as hell. It was nasty, it was dirty, it's still nasty, it's still dirty. Okay? All you have to do is turn on the news and you can basically see what's going on in New York. I've lived in California, I've been to San Diego. Guys, all right? It's not that pretty. There's some decent areas, it's not that pretty. America is a miserable place. And it's like, guys, people are like, Americans are so hocked up on crazy right now after everything that has happened that everyone is on edge. Everyone is constantly on edge. Like, it's insane. The United Kingdom, they're the same country. I've already said it. The US and the United Kingdom are the same country. All right? Constantly hocked up on crazy. You have a bunch of crazy people in the US. You have a bunch of crazy people in the United Kingdom. You have a bunch of crazy people in Australia. Oh my gosh. Canada, crazy. Absolutely crazy. Stay out of these countries. You can find, guys, you can find countries like Poland, all right? Sweden, Even Sweden's better. Even Sweden is better than this crap right now. I'm not saying go to Sweden, all right? Places like New Zealand, even. Many of you are like, oh, you don't know, guys. And even though we're in a global economic, even though we're experiencing high inflation around the world, a lot of these countries are not experiencing the kind of inflation. Germany is not experiencing the kind of inflation that we have in the United States. Japan is not experiencing the kind of inflation that we have in the United States and Australia and Canada. Canada is a living hell right now in terms of home prices. Like, no one can buy a home in Canada. You've got $3 million homes just casually sitting there all over Canada. Like a $3 million home in New York is just normal. My father's home, the house that he purchased just under 30 years ago, that house is worth over $1 million now. But you've got like basic Betty houses, a basic bitch going for $3 million in Canada. Like, what the living hell is that? Like a one-family home. Oh, guys, like they purchased, like, you go back like 50 years ago, and this house was purchased for like $10,000, $15,000 as a starter home, and now it's $3 million in Canada. Who the hell is going to purchase this thing? And the boomers just keep on refinancing. So they keep on sucking out any equity, and as inflation rises, they basically suck out any new equity. And their plan is just to keep on doing this until they go off to the shadow realm. It's insane.
Because of this, posts like yours, though understandable, are unfortunately ill-timed. None of us know which way the wind will blow with the studio. We are worried sick and terrified of the future. Not only that, but we have been shouldering the brunt of the emotional labor as executives/directors dodge most of the blame. Behind the scenes
to be fair, I mean, they weren't the ones that wrote the characters, right? I mean, it was you that did it. You made it was the executive standing behind you and telling you to make this character. Maybe they were, right? And I mean, I think that she's right about that kind of to an extent. But like, I don't like this narrative that the only people who are at fault are like the executives, because I think that fault probably goes all the way down the line. I bet there's people that are actual artists that are incompetent and bad at their job. I think there's executives that are bad and incompetent at their job. And I dislike this otherization of executive leadership, because it's like, you always are like, oh, well, it's the people that are in charge who are at fault. Well, it's their responsibility, you're right, but it might not necessarily be their fault. Can't really guess, to be honest. Well, I mean, in any situation that you've ever been in, like, that if you have a problem somewhere, the problem is usually a systematic problem. It's not like there's one person.
All this talk about Concord and character designs, people's livelihoods are at risk. And there are very real financial consequences that might hurt us even more. That's just what I can say from our point of view. I'm not saying change course or anything. Us artists like being able to use social media to promote our work and get more jobs, but I'm saying we see that.
That's something that I would do the opposite of with Concord. Like, if I worked on Concord, and I would be like, well, what did you do between those 8 years? Nothing. Nothing. I didn't do anything. Yeah, I was in jail. They're like, oh, okay, thank God. All right, I thought you were an artist for Concord.
It does absolutely affect us, since we just got our teeth kicked in. Okay, so if those messages are indeed true, then here's my thoughts. I do agree that the executives, the directors, the suits at the top should not be dodging most of the blame. Clearly, they all wanted this sort of like modern audience approach for Concord that ended up being a terrible decision. And that, of course, would reflect on the character design.
Guys, I just wanted to share something with you. So, if we go into my YouTube studio, we have an analytics tab, and then we can also see we can see the types of, get ideas for your next videos, right? So, YouTube will help us get some ideas. Here are the kind of videos that YouTube is trying to tell me to make. What people are looking for: why girls get angry, 6 things nice guys do wrong, dating tips for men. Why are they telling me to make these types of videos? So these are the types of videos that and this is from the inspiration tab. YouTube is trying to inspire me to make videos that, basically talk about why women get angry, why girls get angry, the things that men are doing wrong that make women angry. why are the things that nice guys are doing wrong, and this is the reason why you're not getting the girls that you want. Nice guys, you have to do dating tips for men. Like, get the heck out of here, bro. Okay, men are walking away from Western society, completely running away from Western society, and now they're trying to. And this is the comeback. Oh, we need you guys. They're trying to drag men back. They're trying to drag their slaves back. Get back there. Who told you you could go? Who told you you could leave? Not me. I didn't tell you you could go. I didn't tell you you could leave. A country without its men is not a country. A country without its men is a wasteland.
Hired. At the same time, for all I know, a lot of the character design team may have also wanted to take that approach and had no issue with it. There's really
exactly, and that's my perspective on it too. Is like the idea that it's all the executive's fault just sounds like bullshit to me.
Context that we don't know about. And it does seem fair to say that the character design team probably could have done a better job. Like, there wasn't a single design that really looked good in that game. And pretty much everybody,
guys, what we are witnessing right now as men is mass persecution. We are being persecuted by the state. This is what's going on. We are now under mass persecution for thought crimes. In the UK, if you're a boy or a man and they say you're just susceptible to extreme misogyny, the Department of Terrorism will come and grab you and haul you off. This is actually under Yvette Cooper. And that's it. 1984. Okay? We are being persecuted for simply existing. It's as if we've never seen this before happen, huh? And who are the ones who are facilitating this, guys? It's not feminism. Feminism is not to blame for any of this. Many of you will get angry at me and furious at me for saying this. When I say stop blaming feminism, do not blame feminism. Hold the individuals accountable. And many of you don't want to do this. You want to keep on blaming an ideology. It's like what you see happening in Venezuela. You want to blame socialism. Socialism isn't responsible. It's the people who instituted it. Oh, are you telling me that the people who instituted it, they were good people before they instituted it? No, Angry, you don't understand. But it changes people. These were horrible people from the very beginning. It was instituted by tyrants. Feminism is not responsible for any of this. Who are the people that instituted feminism? Tyrants. People who hated us. The first generation of the so-called feminists, okay, were considered terrorists in Western society, and they were jailed in American prisons. And then the Simps felt sorry for them and said, "Oh, we can't do this. We can't. We feel so bad. We can't stand watching these women suffer in prison. So we're just going to cave and give them what they want." And it was just from there. It was just a continuous downhill. Oh, the women don't like the fact that men are drinking. We're going to bars. They want prohibition. We're just going to give it to them. Oh, the women don't want prohibition anymore because they said they want to get drunk. They can't handle not being able to have a drink. Okay, we'll reverse prohibition to make them happy and get them and have them stop complaining. Weak men created this society now. Weak men have created extremely hard times where now we are being persecuted by the state for simply existing. Not for talk, guys, not even for expressing oneself, but for the potential of having thoughts that we are not allowed to have. Thought crimes. We now live in an era of thought crimes, but it's even worse than that. If you are even considered susceptible to specific thoughts, guys, I have never even seen this in Soviet societies before. Okay, where listen to me. They arrest you if they believe that you're basically and don't get me wrong, they arrested a lot of people who were innocent. Lots of people who were innocent. But they were arrested you if they thought that they suspected you of doing this crime or suspected you of being involved with something. All right. They at least suspected you of a crime, of doing something wrong, supposedly. Now, outwardly, they're telling you they're now arresting men and boys if they suspect that you are even susceptible. So they don't suspect that you've committed anything. They don't suspect that you've done anything wrong, but they will now arrest you and take the Department of Terror will now take you into custody as a boy if you are even or a man if they suspect you are even susceptible to the influence of these things. Even susceptible? Come on, y'all, wake the heck up.
Myself won't always do our best.
And also, like, even if you want to have a modern audience feel to it, it doesn't mean it has to look like shit.
Work. Sometimes we mess up, sometimes we make mistakes, and that's a normal thing to have happen on occasion. So I do think it's a little tacky for this person to bring up like, oh, our livelihoods are at risk, as if no one's allowed to criticize the character roster of this AAA game. Like, I don't want anyone's livelihood to be at risk, but come on, that's like a guilt-trippy, tacky move.
Oh, it's so pathetic. It's like this parasocial relationship that people feel like they want you have to feel sorry for them because they made a product that nobody likes. Yeah, cry me a fucking river. Like, do you know how many streamers there are that try to go out there and they put 8 hours into their stream every single day, and then they get 6 viewers after a year? Like, you know what? Sometimes things just don't work out. Streaming to Nightbot? Yeah, and it sucks, man. But, like, that's just how it goes. It's not the world's fault that, It's not the world's fault that you're not able to do this, right? Like, don't expect other people to like go along and let that happen. If a movie's bad, do you blame the cameraman or the makeup person? No, it's the director's fault or the writer. It's the person who's in charge who's at fault. I think that it's honestly probably most of the time, I bet it is a team effort. With any sort of a big failure like this, I would think that it's a team effort. It's not like one person or like one group of people did it. I think it's just a large group of people that all did it together.
We all need to make an income. That doesn't mean that if we do a bad job on something, no one's allowed to say anything about it.
That's what's so crazy. That is the most annoying fucking thing that I hear, is like people that are saying, well, these guys, this is their job. If it's your fucking job, then shouldn't you have done a better job? What's this idea that, like, now you're going to do a shitty fucking job on something and everybody's supposed to be okay with it? What? In what other universe does this work? If you go and you get an oil change at the fucking mechanics and they replace your oil and, fuck. Said oil? Oh my God, I put Mountain Dew in it again. Oh, jeez. And it's like, I don't want to pay for that. Not again. Stupid fucking mistakes. Oh, wow. Oops. Yeah. Larry. Did you do them? You at least gave him code red, right? It's got more caffeine and it'll make the car run faster. Nobody gives a fuck about this. You're never going to go back there again. So I don't want to fucking hear this shit. It's so pathetic that people try to guilt trip and say like, oh yeah, you shouldn't have this feeling. It's crazy.
Surely get the point, so I'll leave it there. Let me know what you think about this stuff in the comments. If you enjoyed my coverage, consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.
I think that it's so just fucking funny for me to see this. And also, like, I do feel bad for a lot of the artists, but how is it that there are a lot of other games that have modern audience styled characters that don't look like garbage? I refuse to believe that the CEO or the game director was standing behind you and made you make that robot look as stupid as it did. I don't believe that. That it just, again, it goes against everything that I could ever even conceptualize. They weren't sitting behind you and being like, oh, well, make this one dumber, make her fatter, make her arms bigger. Yeah, like they surely didn't care though. Yeah, they did a bad job. You did a bad job. Like I feel like, yeah, so what were you doing for those 8 years? Oh, I committed a felony assault, and I had to spend 8 years in prison. The interviews are like, oh, thank God, wow. I thought you were an artist for Concord, you know. If I knew somebody worked on this game, I would probably never want to hire them for anything ever again. I do. Like, I'm sorry, and
You know, one of the big things about all of this, guys, and that's really interesting, and no one's talking about this. If you look at Concord, it basically removed essentially like every white character in the game, white male character. Like there were almost no white men in the entire game, and if they were like completely destroyed. It was guys, like the character models are terrible in Concord. No one wants to play a game where this is what you're playing with, and these people are so insane. They're like, oh, the key is that you're just going to have to make games that are so good that people have no choice but to play them. Bro, if your character models are garbage, and you've told me that, for example, what's the main demographic of people that play games in Western society? White men. And if you're erasing white men from the game, saying that white men are bad, we don't want them in the game, we don't want them developing these games, and you've just alienated your entire audience, and then you're pissed off when they don't purchase the game. You're like, we want more women in games, and we want more women developing games, we want more diversity, and we want more women playing games. So what do men do? They're told to leave us alone. Women tell men, leave us alone. So what do men do? Men now listen. You are not liked, you are not appreciated. But then when things go downhill, we need your money, we need your support. You're a misogynist because you walked away. Like, this is what's happening, guys. This is what's happening. Men are being called misogynist for just simply walking away. Women told men, go away. We don't want you here. So what did men do? Men listened. Men did what they were told. They were told to go away, so they went away. They walked away. And now that society is beginning to crumble, these industries are beginning to fall apart because the men left. They did exactly what they were told. They're now being blamed for going away. They're now being blamed for not going where they're not appreciated. Oh, guys, people don't understand how value is created. If you take all men and you turn us all into a bunch of slaves, then you're not going to create actual value. Eventually, this is what happened to the Roman Empire. They basically were living off slave labor because the men walked away. They alienated every man in their society. And the men walked away from the men walked away from the Roman Empire. And the entire empire was being run off slave labor. So you had the most evil and vile people going around enslaving anyone who had value, but making doctors slaves, making teachers slaves. All right. And now so now you're forced into a life of servitude, but they couldn't make them soldiers. And it was clearly spread throughout Roman laws that slaves could not serve as soldiers because you could easily tell why. Because they would become detractors, they would become traitors. All right, they have no dog in the fight. You imagine making a slave fight for your cause because they're a slave. Like, okay, well, if you don't fight, then we're gonna control alt delete you. That makes no sense whatsoever. So basically, the Roman Empire had used everything, all of their wealth to subsidize the living of women, destroyed the lives of men, punished men for not wanting to marry, and provide for the empire that had gone woke. And within 100 years, it collapsed. Barbarians took it over. Barbarians pillaged the empire because they realized the empire had no money. It had men would not protect it. It was done. It was basically a shill. Like, it was a bluff. Do not forget that, the emperor called men who would not, single men, worse than all the criminals in the Roman Empire, because these men had walked away and were now no longer subsidizing the cost of women. Guys, women are expensive to provide for, not just for men, but by society. Check this out. over the course of the average woman's life, she will cost the economy more money than she puts into the economy. Over the course of the average man's life, he will put more money into the economy than he takes out of the economy. The average woman will leave a deficit on the economy over the course of her life. The average man will leave a surplus on the economy over the course of his life. But as men walk away from society, as men turn their backs on society and say, we don't want to have anything to do with society, society doesn't want to have anything to do with us, we were pushed out, then men begin earning less money. If you listen to what Kamala Harris is saying, she wants to put a 28% tax on capital gains. What the heck does that mean? If you have Bitcoins and you cash out your Bitcoins, oh, guess what? That's, you now owe 20, you now owe 30%. If you cash out your stocks, oh, that's 30%. So people that live off this income, she's basically going for your day trading money. So what men are going to do is they're basically going to work less. They'll invest in things that they can use to barter and trade directly to avoid capital gains expenses, capital gains taxes. The more that they tax men, they'll just lower their tax bracket and live simple lives of luxury. If you ban men from playing games, it's, unless you're coming into the homes of these men and searching their possessions, men will just start buying PlayStation 5. Not PlayStation 5, PlayStation 2. They'll buy old games, for the PlayStation 2 or even PlayStation 1, or it doesn't matter. They'll buy emulators. They'll build PCs. They'll buy small PCs that are already built. They'll emulate their games, and they'll just basically play games chilling at home and relaxing and watching as the world burns. They'll brew their own beer at home, make their own alcohol if they can't buy it from the store, or alternatives. Because men are creative, men are crafty. We have the internet. We can do a lot more than people in the past could with a little bit of knowledge. All right? Get a piece of land, raise some animals, raise some rabbits. Rabbits grow very, very quickly. So we'll always have meat. Get some freezers, solar electricity. Even without electricity, we'll learn how to survive. We'll go straight up. We'll go old England. We'll go old England. We will learn how to survive. Even without electricity, we'll be fine. Okay? Just using simple engineering. Using a bit of engineering. Okay? Place to wash our butts, place to poop, make an outhouse. It doesn't matter. Men will walk away. Men will walk away. And women have done this. Women have created the society where men are just sick and tired of it. Men are like, you know what? We're done. We are absolutely done with the BS. We're done with the games. We're not going to put up with the nonsense anymore. And we're just going to pick up and leave.
I understand that with anything like this, that I'm sure there were good people that were working and were trying to do their best. But you know what? If you're running a company, would you want to take that risk? Would you want to take that chance bringing in somebody who might not necessarily know that? Would you want to risk that? I wouldn't. And again, yeah, you're being unreasonable. Let me read this to see. I'm being unreasonable. Okay. Lovely. Why is that? Can we add that's a great question. Somebody asked, can we add Concord to the criminal record? I think that probably, we do need a new law for that. If you work on one of these really bad video games, you should just go to fucking jail. Okay, what is this here? The art's not that bad. Oh, it's not that bad. It's not good enough. It's not that bad.
The art's absolutely terrible. There was a guy who just made a video where he redid all of the art, and he showed you all of the art in the game. It's horrible. It's absolutely atrocious. Guys, do you hear what just Asimov Gold just said? The people who worked on this game should go to jail. Because, guys, right now you have the minority that is oppressing the majority. Think about the logistics right now. Right now, the minority amongst us are oppressing the majority. They're oppressing the people who have guns and God. It's not a very wise thing to do. They're oppressing the majority using social media and politics. and enforcers. But that crap only lasts for so long, because when the majority gets pissed off, they're using demoralization, and all of these things, the state to control men. But here's guys, women are even attacking the police right now. In the UK, they're like, these laws that are now being used to counter extreme misogyny. Women are also trying to say that these laws should go after men in the police force. All right? Enforcers are agents of the state. Police officers are agents of the state. They are enforcers. And the women want to go after the cops too. The ones who are doing the enforcing, they want to go after the men who also work in law enforcement that are also doing the enforcing of the state. So the people that would enforce the policies and oppress men in society, they're also saying that they themselves also need to be investigated and held and controlled by women and punished. This is, guys, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. How are you thinking? Like, how crazy do you have to be to say that you want to punish the people that you're using to punish others? They're crazy. This is why I say we're dealing with people who are functionally insane at best. And the level of hatred and contempt that they have for us is unparalleled by anything else. Guys, I'm telling you right now, even if you go back to very bad times in history, in the history of the world, I am telling you that the modern man is hated more today than any slave was ever hated in American history. Okay? And to be honest, they weren't really hated. They were basically just being used as build American society. It was just what people did back then. I'm not saying it was a good thing, but slavery as history has existed throughout the history of the world. What I'm trying to say is that we are hated more than the cockroach as men in Western society. Our societies absolutely hate us and they want to destroy us. All right? These societies want to destroy us because they hate us so much.
That means it's bad. Not that bad? Okay, so you have... All right. Okay. Okay, you want to do this? Let's do it. All right. Okay. We're going to have right here... this is... So if you look at the chart that I've just created, you would see that on the spectrum chart here, not that bad is still categorized inside of the bad category. So not that bad is still bad. Do you understand how, like, this doesn't really work with me? The art direction maybe, but the models are well done. Also, Ackman said the marketing for the game sucked. The marketing for the game sucked? Really? Okay, then explain Deadlock.
You know, guys, right now what's happening with the Joker is hilarious. IGN is pissed off with the Joker. They gave it a 5 evidently because the movie focuses too much. The movie focuses too much on it focuses too much on the Joker. It focuses too much on the Joker and not enough on Harley Quinn. Yeah. It's like it's an absolute and utter joke. Absolute and utter joke. Yeah. Let's see here. Joker, Folie et Deux. Like Harley Quinn, the sequel is a little too obsessed with the Joker. Check this out. Like Harley Quinn, the sequel is a little too obsessed with the Joker. With Joker, a little too obsessed. So they gave this movie a 5 because the movie's central focus, is still on the Joker. Harley Quinn is obsessed with the Joker. That's how Harley Quinn has always been. But they've turned her into like this feminist icon in the comics right now, where she's like greater than the Joker. She's supposed to be better. Like, give her own damn movie. Oh, well, they tried things like that with Birds of Prey, and the movie flopped hard. All right, the movie was filled with absolute loads of man hate and of misandry, and it flopped fucking hard. And now you have Joker 2 that came out. It sounds like it might end up being a banger, or at least a decent watch, and it's centered around the Joker. And IGN is furious. We can scroll down and just jump into it. Despite the best efforts of Joaquin Phoenix, Lady Gaga, and an opening hour set in Arkham Asylum, Joker 2 wastes its potential as a movie musical, a courtroom drama, and a sequel that has anything meaningful to say or add to the first Joker. So they're pissed off. They're pissed off that the movie centered on the Joker. All right. So Joker number 2 too often insists on returning to familiar territory instead of blazing a new path. So instead of being a setting for feminism, okay, and for showing off Harley Quinn and making Harley Quinn the star of the show, it focuses too much on Arthur. The Joker. How insane is this, guys? How insane is this? So the movie comes out, and you know what's really interesting, what's frightening about this? The movie comes out on October 4th, and I'm recording this video on September 9th. So this movie will not come out for almost 1 month, and it's already being blacklisted by IGN. This is insane. Can you imagine blacklisting a game, releasing a negative review like this a month before a game is supposed to come out? A month. And they've released this hit piece. This is a hit piece on the Joker 2. Let's just call it what it is. Joker 2. A month before it's coming out. It charges out of the gate with a novel approach to DC's most famous villain, but it soon settles into rote rhythm. Though advertised as a dream jukebox musical, the sequel to 2019's Joker is actually more of a courtroom drama, and not a very interesting one at that. The film works best when pushing towards new ways of seeing a central character, often through the eyes of a wonderfully realized Harley Quinn, played by Lady Gaga, but it too often insists on returning to familiar territory and on occasion familiar footage instead of blazing a new path. So guys, they're absolutely pissed off. They're absolutely pissed off that the movie centers on the Joker, centers on Arthur, the star of the first show. This is crazy, guys. If they want a movie that centers on Harley Quinn, she should have her own movie called Harley. In other words, guys, they want to take whatever we create, whatever we have, and rebrand it in their image. Okay? You actually have women now who are saying that they are gods. All right? They're saying that they are gods and that men should worship them. They are putting themselves before God in heaven. Guys, I warned you of this. I told you guys what was happening right now is that women were turning themselves into gods, false idols. All right? And God, even if you don't believe in God, but I'm telling you, God does exist. And if there's one thing that God does not like false idols. Remember the golden calf. Right now, guys, what we have is the golden V. The golden V. All right. Women and simps are worshiping the golden V. It is all over society, the golden V. What does God do to these types of things? God destroys them. Look at what happened with the children of Israel who worshiped the golden calf. They were basically stuck in the wilderness for like 40 years, I think it was. Forget me if I'm wrong. They're stuck in the wilderness for decades until the last of their generation who had participated in that were gone. That's what happened to those who worshiped the golden calf after everything God had done for them. What do you think is going to happen to those who are worshiping the golden V and have turned away from God? They want to have nothing to do with God, or they are trying to remake God in their own image. That's what modern women are doing. That's what simps are doing. They are trying to remake God in their own image. They are saying that we are gods. We have attained this power. We must be worshipped. God put us here to be worshipped. Women are saying that women should only date men who worship them. Worship them. Idolize them, guys. Treat them as gods. If he does not treat you as a goddess, he is not for you. If he does not worship you and worship the ground that you walk upon, he is not for you. If he does not idolize you, he is not for you. Guys, worship you as a god. Idolize you. Worship the ground that you walk upon. Guys, we know what happens. We've seen this one play out many times. It never ends well. Women don't seem to understand where this is going. They don't care. You have to understand that if women are not guided by men, they are easily drawn to evil. Now, I'm not saying that women are evil, but if they are not guided by men, then they're easily drawn to evil people and evil things and easily misled. It's a part of their nature. And I'm not saying, again, not saying women are evil, but I'm pointing out how easy it is for women to be misled by evil because it's exciting and it's something that men, if they don't have men, good fathers, good men in their lives, and if they have given unlimited freedoms, many of them will deviate to Chad and Tyrone. They will go to the streets because the streets call out to them. That's what happens when you do not have a strong society. All right. Basically, and women say, guys, look at the game. Look at Concord. They're attacking men, saying that the men who allowed them to create this game should have protected them from themselves. So when women do things in society that end up destroying society or destroying their own lives because they were given free reign, they then turn around and blame the men and say that the men should have protected them from themselves. Hence, the men should be held accountable for what has happened. And they will try to find ways to deviate blame and say, oh, well, we tried to warn you along the way and you just didn't want to listen. But you were given free reign. You were allowed to do whatever you wanted to do. Yeah, but we were trying to warn you about other things. And what were you trying to warn us about? You were the ones in charge. You see, guys, women will never take accountability for anything, even when they're the ones put in charge, even when they're given unlimited power, unlimited freedom, and everything goes to hell. They will then turn around and blame the ones who gave them the powers, gave them the freedoms, and say that it was their fault and proper discussions didn't happen and all kinds of other crap. But you're the ones who were given free reign. You're strong and powerful. And you don't want men splaining to you. So we gave you the money, we let you cook, and this is what you got. All right? You burnt everything to a crisp, and now you want to blame the men? There will never be any accountability taken by women, ever, for anything that they say and anything that they do. I'm just telling you guys. It's a fact. I'm spitting facts right here. Straight up facts, y'all. That's just the society that we live in. I want to remind you guys also that, we have a great community called the Angry Guy Clubhouse. It's linked in the description. We have podcasts. We have a chat section. We have extended videos. We have guides. You can check out our archives. We have we roughly put out new articles every single day. Okay. For right now, for example, and again, we have videos over here, everything. Like the latest one is the art of the fib, when lying is actually a good thing. And it's like it's a mixture of everything. The blueprint for escaping the rat race, the dark ages were orchestrated, you know, the boomer apocalypse, how one generation sold us out. Did feminism fail women? The unexpected backlash and blame game. We've got a lot of different things over. We got so much awesome. The millions of boomers are ending up homeless. Men going their own way has robbed women of their futures. We even have little quirky things like Thanos' blunder, why a population cap would have saved the universe. Guys can go over there. You can talk to me. It's a great place. It's a place to relax. It's a place to chill. And it's a place, and of course, the thing is that if I ever vanish from this platform, I'm able to reach out to you guys directly. I can email you guys directly. So go and sign up to the Angry Guy Clubhouse. It's linked in the description of the video. And also, guys, as a great bonus for you, everyone who signs up also gets a free copy of our digital nomad blueprint. We were just so that you guys know. Some of you may think we had something there before, another guide, and we created this one for you guys. So this one, you can actually go and check it out. Again, it's completely free. It goes to your email address once you've signed up. So it's right in your welcome email. It's easy to find. And there's a link to the Substack. There's a link to our Angry Guy Clubhouse right in the description of the video. So go check that out and enjoy. What do you guys think regarding all of this? Because I think that this is crazy. Modern women have created this world around them. They said, guys, we don't want you. And now they don't want to take accountability for any of this stuff. They don't want to take accountability for what's happening. They're crying. They're saying that, some of us don't even want to go to work anymore, don't want to work in the industry. They're throwing a tantrum because they don't want to be held accountable for what they did.
Again, no. Nope. Not for me. Spanko's on shit analogy? Yep. It's Valve. What, Sony's not big? People don't take Sony seriously? People only take Valve seriously? Come on, what are we talking about? Or it's not that bad? Yes. So anyway, if you go back and you look at this chart, you will see that really bad and not that bad are still inside of the bad category. Okay and decent are inside of the neutral category, and pretty good and amazing are inside of the good category. Art, and also, by the way, somebody brings up a really great point. Art is part of the marketing. I would ask the question how much freedom the artist had when creating the characters. I wouldn't even give a fuck. Like, if I found somebody worked on that game, I would not want to hire them. Let's be honest, right? Make attractive characters in Western video games normal again? Yeah, that'll happen. I guarantee you there's a lot of studios that are seeing what's happened with things like Concord, and they're totally changing up their outlooks based off of it. I think that's absolutely what's going to happen.
Guys, Ubisoft is in terrible shape. They've been releasing games that are absolute garbage, filled with woke propaganda, feminist propaganda, and their stock price is absolutely tanked. EA used to be worth I don't know, $10 billion or more. Now the company is worth less than $2 billion. They've lost the vast majority of their stock price. It continues to go down. And despite that, they're still putting out games with games that are centered around woke culture and propaganda, feminist propaganda. And they're basically they don't care, guys. They're going to basically, if this keeps on going, they're just going to be snapped up. They're going to be purchased by another company. And guys, services like Crunchyroll, right now Crunchyroll, I think it's still $7.99 a month. Let me look this up. How much does Crunchyroll cost? I don't know. Let me see here. Yeah, the fan plan is $7.99 a month. It's still really affordable. I mean, there was a price increase, I think, a little price increase, but it's still really, really cheap. Crunchyroll is a platform where you can go watch anime from Japan, and it's dubbed. It's actually really, really good. You get a lot of value from it, and I really guarantee you that soon they're going to raise the price of Crunchyroll, because they basically got rid of all most of the free stuff. You used to be able to watch things on Crunchyroll for free on a delay. So, for example, a week after, 2 weeks after it came out in Japan, now you pretty much everything you have to have a subscription to watch it. And that was one of the things that they did that pissed off a lot of people. But it's only $7.99 a month right now, and it provides me with much more value than say Netflix. Like, I just keep canceling Netflix. So when you consider how much value Crunchyroll provides to people, and the fact that most of us who are watching Crunchyroll are grown ass adults, grown ass men, don't be surprised when the price of Crunchyroll starts to skyrocket and eventually starts costing like $20 a month. Like, it's gonna go from $7.99 to $10 or $9.99 or probably 15. Because, like, supposedly the PlayStation 5 Pro is about to be revealed. There's gonna be two models. There's gonna be the all digital version, which will be $600, and the and all digital, and then the one with the disc drive will be $700. So this is crazy. The new PlayStations will be $600 and $700. That's what we're hearing. Okay, like a PlayStation with a disc drive, $700. $700. And this does not spell. And Sony basically just sent out like the invitation, like they're gonna have a technical presentation early on September 10th. So yeah, it looks like this is the PlayStation 5 Pro reveal. And you have a lot of these idiots who are the ponies. That's what they're called. The Sony fans, the PlayStation fans, ponies. They're like, yeah, that's not too expensive, because these guys don't care. They'll basically spend whatever Sony asks for. These guys are brain dead guys. They're simps. All right. These guys are these are the simps. All right, they'll buy. They don't care. They don't care how woke PlayStation becomes. They don't care whatever happens. They don't give a damn. They're just going to basically keep on spending crazy amounts of money. And I'll tell you something also, guys. It's like, for society, it's not good, because what's happening is men are completely, abandoning society to lock themselves away, in virtual worlds. And women don't understand any of this. Guys, protecting society and maintaining society is the job of men, not women. Women don't give a damn about society. They just want power. But when things start to fall apart and, they immediately divert blame and put it back on men, they'll blame men for giving them the power. They'll blame men. They'll say that men didn't do enough. They'll come up with all kinds of nonsense and find. You can never win an argument with a woman. It's impossible. It is impossible to ever win an argument with a woman, because they're going to use feelings. They're going to misconstrue things. They're going to say things happened that did not happen. They're going to seize upon anything. And then they basically are victims in the end of you. Guys, they have no humility. Women, it's impossible. It's almost impossible for most women to be humble. It's impossible for the vast majority of women to be humble, and if they are looking like they're humble, they're pretending. So many women even around me now in the TradCon community, like I should say TradCon, that I know, like, guys, these women are cheaters. They are cheaters, or they are borderline cheaters. I'm so honest. Like, for example, your husband is away, and you want me to believe that you're not doing anything. You're a good-looking girl. You're a good-looking woman, and your husband is away, and you're not doing anything. You're just chilling at home waiting for him to come back. Like, I'm just thinking to myself, bro, you're so full of it. Like, either you're basically, using a toy or whatever, or because women like physical intimacy more than men, and it's hard to, and let me be real, women are around, they can have a man at any moment that they want. They can have a Chad, they can have a Tyrone, they can have any man that they want at any moment almost. All right. And if you're a good-looking woman and your husband isn't around, you're just basically chilling and waiting for him to come back. That's total BS. We know how the military works. Where when these men, they go out of town, their wives immediately go find some guy to hook up with. That's how these women operate. They love to cheat. They can't, guys. The moment these guys leave the U.S., the moment that they leave, these women are out there in the streets looking for a man to go and be physically intimate with. That's how they operate. This is the reason why, as men, we have to stay away from immorality. We have to be moral men. We have to be godly men. We have to be disciplined men. We have to learn how to be alone. We have to learn how to spot these women, these Jezebels. And the Jezebel spirit, I've warned you before, the Jezebel spirit is not only one that inhibits women, it is also a spirit that inhibits men. All of these simps, they have the Jezebel spirit within them. And the manosphere is rife with simps. Why is the manosphere rife with simps? Because they have nowhere else to go. I realized something today. This comes with wisdom. This comes with common sense and reasoning. I have a lot of these simps who are on my channel who are coming after me and attacking my videos and all of this other crap. But then I realized something. For this simp to attack me and attack my video, where in the video did I make the point that he's attacking? Because I'm making videos, I'm out here making videos now that are literally that are long. My videos are like at least an hour long now these days. You know, sometimes they're not all of them are hour long, but a lot of them are hour long or more. So if my videos are like an hour long, and this simp is complaining about a point that I made in the video, that means the simp had to have watched like 45 minutes of the video, 20 minutes of the video, 30 minutes of the video just to make this point. So these Sims, no matter how nasty and evil and vindictive they are, I have to be doing something right because I'm captivating them. A person who absolutely cannot stand you is not going to be engaged and watching your content, all right, for like 30 or 40 minutes, for like 45 minutes. So even if the Sims don't want to admit it, something that I'm saying is resonating with them. Even if they absolutely hate me and hate masculinity and hate men, the fact that they're watching these videos from the beginning all the way to the end, just so they can criticize me, illustrates that I'm doing something right. I'm living rent-free in their heads. So they leave a snarky little comment about the things I say in a video, but guys, that's just a snarky little comment. Guess what? I've already had 45 minutes to make my point. I've had 45 minutes to make my argument. So regardless if you agree with it or not, you know, your snarky little comment was just that's just a quick glance, and I block you from the channel. Block them from the channel. On the other hand, I had 45 minutes to make my case, and they chose to listen to every single bit. If you were watching 45 minutes of my video, that damn well means I must have captivated you. Okay? I gave you a cinematic experience. All right? It was like you were in an IMAX theater. Okay? You were blown away. I'm telling you guys, I'm telling you. This thing that's happening, this boycott that's happening with these men is going to change Western society. It's going to change the gaming industry. The gaming industry is falling apart right now. A lot of people are losing their jobs. Where this is ultimately leading is that you're going to find more and more of these people losing their jobs, and you're also going to find more developers saying, hey, people want to play these games. They want to play games with strong male leads. They want to play games with beautiful characters. They want to play games that do not have any political correctness in it. They want to play game. This is what we want. So you know what? We're going to make this game. It doesn't even have to be the greatest game in the world. It just has to focus on the core mechanics, making something that is reasonably fun and not having any of that other garbage in there. And we'll give it to these men, and they will play it, and they will find the fun. Just focus on making a game that's fun with attractive characters while avoiding any propaganda, any woke culture, woke propaganda, feminist propaganda, political ideologies or messaging, and give it to these men. It doesn't matter if the mainstream media rates the game a 6, because companies like IGN, no one's believing them anymore. That's what's going on. Like if you go to Steam and you look at the game and you look, there's like, basically the ratings, it says like mixed reviews, overwhelmingly positive, very positive. That's how I'm buying my games now. That's what for example, if I go to IGN and IGN gives a game a 5, but I go to Steam and it says overwhelmingly positive, 1,000 reviews, overwhelmingly positive, recent reviews, overwhelmingly positive. Yeah, I'm going to trust Steam reviewer. I'm going to trust the people who are playing the games on Steam more than I'm going to trust IGN and the media. So basically, we are seeing a decentralization right now. Guys, if Valve releases a Steam console, it's over. if they release a Steam console that is as good as the Steam Deck and can address and can work in, similar to the PlayStation 5 and even offer things that the PlayStation 5 cannot offer, because you're still going to have that PC experience in there, it's over. It's over. Hands down. No one, guys, people are going to rush to buy a Steam console. It would be a Steam console for me. It's a day one. It's a 100% day one. The games are cheaper. You're always going to, basically, if there's a game that you want, you basically just add it to your wish list and then wait for it to go on sale. And you don't even always have to wait until like, there's a big Steam sale. There's always sales throughout the year, and these games still will, and like developers will like put these games on sale at random points if they're trying to generate some money. They're like, yeah, this game's not selling well. They'll just basically put it on sale to try to generate some interest. And like, for example, and I don't know what tools that they have in the background, but it's possible that developers may also be receiving analytic reports from like, from Steam, like showing that like a bunch of people, like let's say 500,000 people have this game added to their wish list. It would make sense for them to have analytical access to analytics like that. So for example, if there's a specific game and 500,000 people have this game on their wish list, and the developers of the game can see this, they're like, okay, so yeah, right now is a good time to put this game on sale. They do a bit of research. They figure out what people are purchasing this game for, or similar games for. Like they can look at the past and they can make a determination like, okay, if we take 30% off this game, we're going to probably get a shitload of sales. We already made a lot of sales. We already made a lot of money when we first released it, but the sales have fallen off entirely. But there's a lot of people who wanted to purchase this game who didn't purchase it, and it's on a lot of wish lists. So yeah, we're just going to release it. We're going to drop it. We're going to drop the price a lot, and boom, that's a ton of sales instantly. And there are channels on YouTube now that talk about these games. They're like, oh, there's Steam sales going. This game's on sale. Guys, this is basically men walking away from society. I remember someone said in my comments, like, what happens when society basically says that you have to get married or go to jail? Men are just going to go to jail. Men are just going to go to jail. What do you guys think regarding all of this? Gamers continue their massive boycott against feminism. Let me know your thoughts. We'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away, and share.